Trying to figure out what video I was meant to be filming. Oh, 5 scary movies that you should watch this October because it's spooky season, which is great. It's my favorite time of year. I love the horror movies, but I'm also, a bit of a novice when it comes to, not a novice. I was going to say expert, but I feel too young to be an expert about horror films. But when it comes to viewing habits, I watch horror films all the time. Not every day. Sometimes I like to keep that mental health in good check, and I watch some comedies. But this time we're not talking about comedies. We don't really talk about comedies on this channel. So here are 5 scary films you should watch in October. Okay, they're not all scary films, but they're horror films. I'm going to start off with The House That Screamed, which is a, 1971 film? Oh, 1970. Oh, I was so close. I've got the Blu-ray here from Arrow Video, which is a nice slipcover version, which comes with the 2K restoration of the original camera negative, with the 105-minute long uncut version titled The Finishing School, in brackets, La Residencia, because it's Spanish, but it's dubbed in English, and the 94-minute US theatrical version titled The House That Screamed. Definitely watch the extended cut. I haven't seen the non-extended cut, the theatrical cut. I've actually only just seen that one a couple of days ago, and it was wonderful. It's got a great ending that I won't spoil, so I highly suggest do not look up the ending. But I will note that if you like Picnic at Hanging Rock, really anything that's set in the all-girls boarding school that's not overly sexualized, in fact, it's hardly sexualized, it's got creepiness to it, it's got a great atmosphere, some great characters, a really interesting plot that kind of goes in a lot of different directions, that kind of feels like it takes off and then completely dead stops and someone else's story comes in, whether because someone's been killed off or for other reasons. There is murder in this school. So that one's pretty great from 1970. I highly recommend it. And again, like I said, it is dubbed in English. I don't think there is a existing Spanish version. Even the Arrow version only has like a excerpt from the Spanish version, but it's a surprisingly good dub, so I was happy with that. Then we have Lake Mungo from, I'm going to say 2008. Oh, I'm really bad with dates. Am I right? 2008? Yeah, 2008. Australian horror film directed by Joel Anderson. It actually has a new 4K UHD coming out this December from Umbrella, which I am eagerly awaiting, but it does have a pre-existing second sight version as well, which was also really good. Pretty sure it was second sight. Yeah, it was. Lake Mungo is one of the few horror films that have genuinely terrified me. Like, I like to get scared by horror films, but for the most part, I just like the kind of surrealist aspects to it. Like, I think it's a bit more surrealist when you have someone getting chased by a guy with a knife. It doesn't seem like the day-to-day, you know? I like horror films because they utilize effects and blood and gore, and it's really nice to see, like, different kinds of, just visual representations of things. They can be, like I said, surreal. You can have slasher films, you can have monster movies, you can have all kinds of things. They can be very human stories that happen to feature a terrifying creature, or just no creatures whatsoever. Just a really compelling drama, or it's a David Cronenberg film. In the case of Lake Mungo, it's a fake documentary about a haunted house, but the haunted house is a family who live in this house in the suburbs of, I feel like it's Victoria, it might be Sydney, Victoria or Sydney, the state or the city, either Melbourne or Sydney, I can't remember, but they live in this household and they believe that the dead sister is haunting the place. They have photographic evidence, and it just kind of has, they basically kind of do almost a Paranormal Activity thing where they set up a bunch of cameras, but it's for this documentary, but it doesn't have that wankiness that like Paranormal Activity has where it's set at nighttime and the only time the cameras on are at night. This is always. It's during the day, it's not during the day. There are moments where you're like, is that a ghost? Is that not a ghost? It's slow, it's creepy, it's wonderful, but it's still telling you this narrative drama that leads up to the events at Lake Mungo, which is one of the most terrifying sequences I've ever seen put to film. I'm not eager to rewatch it, because I know how terrifying it is, but I would highly recommend it. That's a very, very shockingly good, scary film. Then we have Fear Below from 2025. This is directed by Matthew Holmes. This is a period piece set post World War II. Post World War II? Yeah, it's like the late 40s, early 50s. It's about a diving crew. This is three characters who have to go fish out a car from a lake that was driven into the lake by the mob by accident, and it might be filled with millions of dollars in silver or gold, or you know what you do. It has to be silver or gold because it wouldn't work in the water otherwise. But what makes it scary is that there's a shark, a bull shark, a female bull shark, so the largest type of shark that you can get, and it's in cloudy, muddy water. So you can never really tell when the shark is coming. It has that kind of Jaws effect, again, at a shark movie, where the absence of the shark is often scarier than the shark being there, but the ferocity of the shark is just as terrifying, which is great. It's a great character drama as well. You have the conflict between your three lead protagonists with the mob characters, and you're contrasting that to a shark. So it's like, what's scarier, humans or a shark? It's a great contrast, and I really enjoyed watching it. You can get it on DVD, and you can get it on Blu-ray, but Blu-ray, you have to, if you're in Australia, you have to import it. I got it from Germany, weirdly enough, actually via Rarewaves, of course, but there is a DVD in local Australian markets as well, so yeah, I really enjoyed it. Then we have 1000 Women in Horror. This one's a difficult one to kind of, I guess, advertise, because firstly, it's a documentary. Secondly, it isn't necessarily scary when, it's a documentary about women talking about the evolution of women in horror. Not necessarily, but at the same time, it is a great documentation about the different life stages of a woman presented in horror, from adolescence through to middle age through to being elderly. And they beautifully contrast it with a great selection of films. However, there is one particular sequence in it where one of the actors who's talking in it, this is the girl who's in all the Mike Flanagan films. It's really bad that I'm so awful at names. It's a 2025 documentary directed by Donna Davies. It features Kate Siegel. She's probably the most famous person in the film, but Lynn Shay is also in there as well. It's got a great selection of women who are actors, writers, and directors. A friend of mine, Alexandra Helen Nicholas, who wrote the book, is also featured quite heavily in the film. But Kate Siegel has a whole sequence talking about an emergency C-section, which was so grueling I had a panic attack in the cinema. Wonderful stuff. It is released by Shudder. I don't yet know if it actually has gotten a global release, but it is going through the film markets right now. So, I saw it at Melbourne International Film Festival. I believe it's at South by Southwest Sydney this year. So if you're able to see it at a film festival, I highly recommend it. This is why it's a weird one to kind of suggest, because it doesn't really have a proper full out there release, which is disappointing. I would love a Blu-ray copy of it, because it's one of those documentaries that you could rewatch for so many essences of, I want to watch a film that emphasizes like a terrifying adolescent girl in horror. Let's look at that part of the 1000 Women in Horror doco and see what they talk about. Then you have V from 1967. This is actually a Russian film from the USSR. I have the Severin set, the All the Haunts Be Ours Volume 1, which it is featured in there, but you can also watch it on YouTube for free. I only know that because I accidentally watched it on YouTube. I got half an hour in and realized, I swear I have this on Blu-ray, and then I found out that it was actually in my Severin set, so I watched that instead. But it's a fantastic kind of gothic kind of mystery film. It's about a priest who's regarded as a philosopher who has to go to a town to bid the last rites to a woman before she dies. However, he doesn't get there in time, and instead has to stay there each night for 3 nights in this empty church with just her open coffin. and he has to read these prayers. But each night she comes to life and fucks with him. And it's wonderful that all 3 nights are encapsulating beautiful cinematography, great effects, beautiful lighting and makeup. The final night in particular, which is like the last 15 minutes of the film, is absolutely insane. However, the rest of the film is set outside of the church. It starts initially with the priest leaving their church. It's basically like, oh, you're on holidays, everyone can go now, whatever. He may or may not have abused a witch, who may or may not be the woman who's dead. Maybe. So he has to deal with the townfolk when he's outside, and like kind of it contrasts like his mentality of being in this, you know, place of horrors with this town of people who are just such a completely different style of people to him. It's really interesting. I know a lot of people have been... I've seen reviews on Letterboxd that are a lot more critical of like the times where he's not in the church, because I'm like, oh, the church is the best bit, which was all this, that. But it gives you a lot of character outside of that when you see kind of what he's like in the day-to-day and what the rest of the townspeople are like, and just how much he wants to get out of here, and maybe he's not even allowed to by not just the people, but the universe itself is trying to compel him to stay in this place. It's kind of got that agreed imprisonment feel to it. So, yeah, I think it's really great. Is it necessarily scary? It depends what you're scared about. It's got paranormal elements to it, again, with ghosts and demons and whatnot. But it's just beautifully shot, and it's the kind of film that of recent I've been seeing like clips from it in strange musical montages. So I'm like, okay, and that's why it was on my watch list to watch. And I watched it, I'm like, yeah, this was pretty good. So there you go. There's 5 films I'd recommend for your viewing habits in October if you're able to access them. The easiest one to access would easily be V, because it's on YouTube. But again, House of Screams from Arrow Video, Lake Mungo, later in the year from Umbrella, so not a great time to be advertising it now, but at least if you're able to watch it maybe on Brawly, or streaming it somewhere, or you get the second sight version. Fear Below, DVDs are available, same as Blu-rays internationally, so outside of Australia, and 1000 Women in Horror. Eventually on Shudder, now would be a good time to release it, but it is doing film festival stuff, so yeah. Anyway, that's all. Give me 5 films that you would recommend that I should watch this October, and maybe I'll actually watch them. I probably won't, but I don't know. That can go on the watch list. That ever-growing list. Anyway, see you next time. Adios.